The Mirror of Eternity. Chapter 1. The Discovery. In the heart of London, where history intertwined with the modern world, stood an ancient bookstore hidden from the hurried streets. Its sign, Whispers of Time, hung weathered and faded, a relic of the past. The shop was filled with the scent of old paper and leather bindings, the shelves crammed with forgotten tomes and curious artifacts. Amelia, a young historian with an unquenchable thirst for knowledge, had stumbled upon this place purely by accident. She was searching for a rare manuscript rumored to contain secrets about the lost civilization of Atlantis. Little did she know, this visit would change her life forever. As she browsed through the dusty shelves, a peculiar item caught her eye. It was an ornate mirror, its frame decorated with intricate carvings of unknown symbols. The glass seemed to shimmer with an otherworldly light, drawing her closer. There was something about the mirror that captivated her, as if it was calling out to her. "That mirror has a story," an elderly voice said from behind her. Amelia turned to see an old man, the shopkeeper, watching her intently. His eyes were sharp and filled with a knowledge that seemed to transcend time. "What's its story?" Amelia asked, intrigued. "The Mirror of Eternity," the old man began, "is said to be a portal to another realm, a world beyond our understanding. It is believed that those who gaze into it for too long can see not only their own future, but the secrets of the universe. But beware, for it also shows the darkest corners of the soul." Amelia felt a shiver run down her spine. She had always been fascinated by the unknown, and this mirror was unlike anything she had ever encountered. Despite the old man's warning, she couldn't resist its allure. "How much for it?" she asked, her voice steady despite the racing of her heart. The old man studied her for a moment, then replied, "It's not for sale. But if you truly wish to understand its power, you may borrow it. But remember, it is not just a mirror. It is a key to a world that is best left unexplored." Amelia nodded, accepting the challenge. She carefully took the mirror, its weight heavier than she expected, and carried it out of the shop, unaware of the journey she was about to embark on. Chapter 2. The Reflection. Back in her small apartment, Amelia placed the mirror on her desk. The room was dimly lit, the evening shadows creeping in through the curtains. She sat down and stared into the glass, her reflection staring back at her. But something was different. The reflection seemed more vivid, more alive than any other mirror she had looked into. As she gazed deeper, the world around her began to blur, and the mirror's surface seemed to ripple like water. Suddenly, the reflection changed. Instead of her own face, she saw a vast landscape stretching out before her, a land bathed in golden light, with mountains that touched the heavens and rivers that sparkled like liquid crystal. In the distance, she could see a grand city, its towers reaching towards the sky, and at its center, a colossal temple that seemed to hum with energy. Amelia blinked, and the vision vanished, leaving her staring at her own pale face once more. She gasped, her heart pounding in her chest. What had she just seen? Was it a vision of the past, or the future? Or was it something else entirely? Determined to uncover the truth, Amelia began to research the symbols on the mirror's frame. She spent days in the library, poring over ancient texts and consulting with experts in esoteric knowledge. The symbols, she discovered, were from a long-lost language, one that predated even the oldest known civilizations. They spoke of a gateway to a place called Elysium, a realm of eternal light and knowledge. But there were also warnings of a great darkness that guarded the gateway, a darkness that could consume the soul of anyone who tried to enter unprepared. Chapter 3. The Descent. Amelia became obsessed with the mirror and the vision it had shown her. She knew she had to find a way to access Elysium, to uncover the secrets that lay within. But the more she studied, the more she realized the dangers involved. The ancient texts spoke of rituals and sacrifices, of trials that tested the very limits of the human spirit. Undeterred, Amelia decided to perform the ritual that would open the gateway. She gathered the necessary items: candles, incense, and a dagger inscribed with the same symbols as the mirror. She waited until midnight, the hour when the veil between worlds was said to be thinnest, and began the ritual. As she chanted the ancient words, the air in the room grew thick and heavy. The candles flickered, and a cold wind swept through the room. The mirror's surface began to ripple once more, and a dark shadow emerged from its depths. It was a formless, writhing mass, its presence suffocating and terrifying. Amelia's heart raced as the shadow approached her, its whispers filling her mind with fear and doubt. But she stood her ground, refusing to back down. She knew that this was the trial she had to face, the darkness that guarded the gateway to Elysium. With a final, defiant cry, she plunged the dagger into the mirror's surface. The glass shattered, and the shadow let out a blood-curdling scream before dissolving into nothingness. Amelia fell to her knees, exhausted but triumphant. The gateway was open. Chapter 4: Elysium. When Amelia awoke, she found herself in the same golden landscape she had seen in the mirror. The air was warm and filled with the scent of blooming flowers. The sky was a brilliant shade of blue, and the sun shone with a radiance that was almost blinding. She made her way towards the city in the distance, her heart filled with awe and wonder. As she approached, she realized that the city was unlike anything she had ever seen. The buildings were made of a material that shimmered like gold, and the streets were lined with trees that bore fruits of every color. At the center of the city stood the temple, its massive doors adorned with the same symbols as the mirror. Amelia hesitated for a moment, then pushed the doors open and stepped inside. The temple's interior was vast and filled with a soft, golden light. In the center of the room was a pedestal, and on it lay a book bound in ancient leather. Amelia approached it, her hands trembling with anticipation. The book was the Codex of Elysium, a tome that contained the knowledge of the universe. It spoke of the creation of worlds, the rise and fall of civilizations, and the mysteries of life and death. As she read, Amelia felt her mind expanding, her understanding of the world deepening. But as she delved deeper into the Codex, she realized that there was a price to be paid for such knowledge. The book also contained the darkest secrets of the universe, truths that could drive a person to madness. The more she read, the more she felt the darkness creeping into her soul, threatening to consume her. Chapter 5: The Return. Amelia knew she couldn't stay in Elysium forever. The knowledge she had gained was both a gift and a curse, and she had to return to the real world to share it with others. But as she prepared to leave, the shadow that had guarded the gateway returned, more powerful than before. It whispered to her, telling her that she could never leave, that the knowledge she had gained was too dangerous to be released into the world. It tried to drag her back into the depths of the temple, but Amelia fought back with all her strength. In a final act of defiance, she closed the Codex and placed it back on the pedestal. The shadow screamed in rage, but Amelia ignored it. She knew that she had to return to the real world, even if it meant leaving behind the knowledge she had gained. With a heavy heart, she stepped through the gateway and back into her apartment. The mirror lay shattered on the floor, and the room was filled with the scent of burnt incense. Amelia collapsed onto her bed, exhausted and filled with a sense of loss. But as she drifted off to sleep, she realized that the knowledge she had gained was still within her, buried deep in her mind. She knew that she would never be the same again, that her journey to Elysium had changed her forever. Chapter 6: The Aftermath. The days following Amelia's return were filled with confusion and uncertainty. She could still feel the presence of the shadow, lurking at the edges of her consciousness. It whispered to her in the dead of night, reminding her of the knowledge she had left behind in Elysium. But Amelia refused to be controlled by fear. She knew that she had been given a great gift, and it was up to her to use it wisely. She began to write down everything she had learned, filling pages with her thoughts and discoveries. As she wrote, she realized that the knowledge she had gained wasn't just about the universe or the secrets of life and death. It was also about herself, about the darkness and light that existed within her own soul. She understood now that the shadow wasn't just a guardian of the gateway, it was a part of her, a manifestation of her own fears and doubts. And just as she had faced it in Elysium, she would have to face it in the real world. Chapter 7: The Legacy. Years passed, and Amelia's writings became renowned among scholars and historians. Her work was hailed as groundbreaking, a testament to her brilliance and insight. But she never spoke of the mirror or the journey she had taken to Elysium. That was a secret she would carry with her to the grave. As she grew older, Amelia felt the pull of Elysium once more. The mirror may have been destroyed, but the gateway still existed, hidden within the depths of her mind. She knew that when the time came, she would return to that golden land, to the city of knowledge and light. And so, on a quiet winter's night, Amelia passed away peacefully in her sleep. Her writings were left behind as a legacy, a gift to the world she had loved so dearly. But her soul, free from the confines of the mortal world, journeyed back to Elysium, to the place where all knowledge began and where her story would continue for eternity. Chapter 8: The Awakening. Amelia's journey through the golden fields of Elysium was not the end but a beginning. Though she had passed away in the mortal world, her consciousness awakened in the timeless expanse of Elysium. Here, the boundaries of life and death were blurred, and souls wandered freely, seeking knowledge, peace, or whatever their hearts most desired. When Amelia opened her eyes, she found herself standing before the great temple once more. The air was filled with the same warmth and light, but there was a new clarity in her vision. She could see the intricate patterns in the golden streets, hear the whispered secrets in the wind, and feel the gentle hum of the universe beneath her feet. She was no longer just a visitor, she was a part of Elysium. As she stepped inside the temple, she noticed that the Codex of Elysium lay open on its pedestal, the pages turning slowly by an invisible force. The knowledge within was no longer a mystery to her. The book now seemed like an old friend, its secrets familiar and comforting. But as she approached it, a voice echoed through the chamber, deep and resonant. "Welcome back, Amelia," it said. "You have passed the trials of mortality and returned to the realm of eternal knowledge. What is it you seek now?" Amelia hesitated. What did she seek? She had already gained so much, and the allure of the unknown had brought her here. But now, standing at the heart of Elysium, she realized that the answers she sought were not just in the Codex or the ancient symbols. They were within herself. "I seek understanding," she replied, her voice strong and clear. "I seek to know my purpose here, in this place beyond time." The voice responded with a soft chuckle. "Understanding is a journey, not a destination. But you have already taken the first step. Elysium is not just a place of knowledge, it is a place of growth. Here, you can explore the depths of your soul and the universe alike. But be warned, Amelia, the journey is long, and the path is not always clear." With those words, the light in the temple grew brighter, and the walls seemed to dissolve around her. Amelia found herself standing at the edge of a vast, shimmering ocean. The water was clear as crystal, and beneath its surface, she could see entire worlds, cities, forests, mountains, all contained within the depths. A small boat waited at the shore, its sails catching the gentle breeze. Without hesitation, Amelia climbed aboard, and the boat began to glide across the water, taking her further into the unknown. Chapter 9: The Ocean of Memories. As the boat sailed across the endless ocean, Amelia peered into the water, captivated by the scenes unfolding beneath her. The ocean, she realized, was not just a body of water, it was a sea of memories, a reflection of the lives and experiences of countless souls who had passed through Elysium. She saw visions of people she had known in her mortal life, as well as those she had never met. Friends, family, strangers, all their memories were intertwined with the fabric of the universe, their stories preserved in the depths of the ocean. There was her mother, teaching her to read by the warm fire, her father, showing her the constellations in the night sky, her childhood friends, running through fields of wildflowers. Each memory was like a drop of water in the ocean, beautiful and precious. But there were also darker memories, loss, grief, and pain. Amelia saw herself as a young woman, struggling to find her place in the world. She saw the loneliness she had felt after the death of her parents, the uncertainty of her early career, and the doubts that had plagued her as she pursued her studies. These memories, too, were a part of her, and she knew she could not ignore them. They were the shadows that had shaped her journey, the challenges that had brought her to this place. As she gazed into the water, she realized that the ocean was a reflection of her own soul, vast, deep, and filled with both light and darkness. The boat drifted on, and Amelia felt a sense of peace settle over her. She knew now that her journey was not just about seeking knowledge, but about understanding herself, her past, her fears, her hopes, and her dreams. The ocean was her guide, helping her navigate the complexities of her own existence. Chapter 10: The Island of Reflection. As dawn broke over the horizon, Amelia spotted an island rising from the ocean. It was small, with lush green forests and towering cliffs, and at its center stood a single, ancient tree with branches that seemed to touch the sky. The boat gently beached itself on the sandy shore, and Amelia stepped onto the island. The air was cool and filled with the scent of blooming flowers. She felt an inexplicable pull towards the tree, as if it held the answers she sought. As she approached the tree, she noticed that its bark was inscribed with symbols, similar to those on the mirror, but more intricate and complex. The tree seemed to be alive with energy, its leaves glowing with a soft, golden light. Amelia reached out and touched the bark. Instantly, a flood of images and sensations washed over her. She saw visions of her life, not as she remembered it, but as it could have been, choices she had not made, paths she had not taken. She saw herself as an artist, painting landscapes filled with light and color, as a teacher, guiding young minds with wisdom and kindness, as a traveler, exploring distant lands and ancient ruins. Each vision was vivid and real, as if she were living those lives in that very moment. She felt the joy, the sorrow, the triumphs, and the failures of each path, and with each vision, she gained a deeper understanding of herself. The tree, she realized, was the tree of reflection, a living entity that revealed the infinite possibilities of life. It showed her not just what was, but what could have been, and what still could be. It was a reminder that life was not a single, linear journey, but a tapestry of choices and experiences, each one shaping the person she had become. As the visions faded, Amelia found herself back in the present, standing beneath the tree. She felt a profound sense of clarity and acceptance. The journey she had taken, the choices she had made, were all part of a greater whole. And while she could not change the past, she had the power to shape her future. Chapter 11: The Reunion. Amelia spent what felt like days on the island, reflecting on her life and the lessons she had learned. The island was a place of peace and solitude, and it allowed her to come to terms with her past and embrace the possibilities of the future. But one morning, as she walked along the shore, she saw a figure in the distance, standing at the water's edge. It was a woman, dressed in flowing robes that shimmered in the sunlight. As Amelia approached, she felt a sense of familiarity, as if she had known this woman her entire life. The woman turned to face her, and Amelia gasped. It was her mother, looking exactly as she had in life, warm, gentle, and wise. "Mother?" Amelia whispered, her voice trembling with emotion. "Yes, my dear," her mother replied, smiling softly. "I have been waiting for you." Tears filled Amelia's eyes as she embraced her mother, feeling the warmth and love that she had missed for so many years. It was as if all the pain and loneliness she had carried with her melted away in that moment. They sat together on the sand, watching the waves gently lap at the shore. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, Amelia felt at peace. "I've missed you so much," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "And I have missed you," her mother replied. "But I have always been with you, Amelia. Even in your darkest moments, I have been watching over you." Amelia looked into her mother's eyes and saw the truth in her words. She realized that her mother had been a guiding presence throughout her life, even after her death. The love and wisdom her mother had imparted to her had helped shape the person she had become. They talked for hours, sharing memories and stories, laughing and crying together. It was a reunion that Amelia had longed for, a chance to say the things she had never had the opportunity to say in life. As the sun began to set, her mother took her hand and said, "It is time for you to continue your journey, Amelia. There is still much for you to discover." Amelia nodded, understanding that this was not goodbye, but a new beginning. She had found the peace and closure she needed, and she was ready to face whatever lay ahead. Her mother kissed her on the forehead and whispered, "Remember, you are never alone. I am always with you, in your heart and in your soul." With that, her mother faded into the twilight, leaving Amelia with a heart full of love and gratitude. Chapter 12: The Path of Light. As night fell on the island, Amelia knew it was time to leave. The boat awaited her, its sails glowing softly in the moonlight. She boarded it once more, her heart lighter than it had been in years. The ocean was calm, and the stars above shone brightly, guiding her on her journey. But this time, the path was different. The boat sailed towards a distant light on the horizon, a beacon that called to her with a sense of purpose and destiny. Amelia knew that the light was her next destination, a place where her journey in Elysium would reach its culmination. The ocean of memories and the island of reflection had prepared her for this moment, and she was ready. As the boat drew closer to the light, Amelia felt a surge of energy within her. The light grew brighter, enveloping her in its warmth and brilliance. It was as if she was being drawn into the very heart of the universe, where all knowledge and understanding converged. The boat gently touched the shore, and Amelia stepped onto a path made of pure light. It led upwards, winding through the stars, towards a radiant temple that seemed to be made of pure energy. She followed the path, feeling a sense of exhilaration and anticipation. The light was not just around her, it was within her, filling her with a deep sense of connection to the universe and all its mysteries. As she approached the temple, she saw figures waiting for her at the entrance. They were beings of light, their forms shifting and shimmering with an otherworldly beauty. They welcomed her with smiles and open arms, their voices echoing in her mind with words of encouragement and love. "Welcome, Amelia," they said in unison. "You have journeyed far and learned much. Now, you stand at the threshold of enlightenment. Are you ready to embrace your true self?" Amelia nodded, her heart filled with resolve. She knew that this was the moment she had been preparing for, the final step in her journey through Elysium. The beings of light guided her into the temple, where a brilliant orb of light hovered at the center of the chamber. It pulsed with a rhythm that matched her heartbeat, and she felt an overwhelming sense of familiarity and belonging. "This is the source," the beings explained. "It is the essence of all creation, the wellspring of knowledge, life, and existence itself. To touch the source is to become one with the universe, to understand all that was, is, and will be." Amelia approached the orb, her hand outstretched. As her fingers brushed against its surface, she felt a rush of energy unlike anything she had ever experienced. The light engulfed her, filling her with the knowledge of the ages, the secrets of the cosmos, and the truth of her own existence. In that moment, Amelia became one with the source. She saw the universe in all its vastness and complexity, the interconnectedness of all life, and the infinite possibilities that lay before her. She understood that her journey was not just about seeking knowledge, but about becoming a part of something greater than herself. She was no longer just Amelia, the historian and seeker of truth. She was a part of the universe, a being of light and wisdom, destined to guide others on their own journeys of discovery. Chapter 13: The New Dawn. When Amelia opened her eyes, she found herself back in the golden fields of Elysium. The temple, the island, the ocean, all had vanished, leaving her standing in a place of pure light and tranquility. But she was not alone. All around her, she could see other souls, each one radiating with the same light and energy that filled her. They were the souls of those who had completed their own journeys, who had touched the source and returned as beings of enlightenment. They welcomed her into their fold, and Amelia felt a deep sense of belonging. She knew that she was home. But her journey was not over. She had become a part of the source, and with that came a new purpose. She would guide others, just as she had been guided, helping them navigate the trials of Elysium and discover their own truths. As the first light of a new dawn broke over the horizon, Amelia knew that her story was just beginning. She had become a part of something eternal, something that transcended time and space. And as she looked out over the endless expanse of Elysium, she knew that she would continue to explore its mysteries, to learn, to grow, and to guide others on their own paths of enlightenment. The journey had no end, only new beginnings. And with each new dawn, Amelia would be there, a beacon of light and knowledge, leading the way.